Hello from Inside Drug Discovery. This video covers a new drug, HYRNUO, which was recently approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. This video describes primarily the drug's medicinal chemistry properties rather than outcomes in patients. HYRNUO was approved on November 19th of 2025. HYRNUO is approved for the treatment of adult patients with types of locally advanced or metastatic non-squamous non-small cell lung cancer, NSCLC. We'll expand on the indication in the next slide. HYRNUO's active pharmaceutical ingredient is cevabertinib. The drug is administered orally twice per day in a 20 milligram dose with food. The sponsor for the NDA is Bayer. A link to the prescribing information insert of HYRNUO is shown on this slide as well as in the video description. Let's put some more qualifiers on HYRNUO's indication. As we've stated, the indication is non-squamous, non-small cell lung cancer. The cancer should be locally advanced or metastatic. The tumor cells should have mutations in the HER2 gene that activate the tyrosine kinase domain of HER2. The mutation should be detected and confirmed through an FDA-approved test, so that is the diagnostic for the indication. Finally, the patient should have already received prior systemic therapy for their cancer. So HYRNUO, at this time at least, is not a first-line treatment. HYRNUO is a tyrosine kinase inhibitor. The HER2 receptor has tyrosine kinase activity, and within the scope of HYRNUO's indication, HYRNUO is a HER2 receptor inhibitor with some degree of selectivity for mutant forms of HER2. The only reported potency for cevabertinib that I could find is an IC50 for a mutant form of EGFR. This IC50 is from IUPhar's Guide to Pharmacology. Why isn't there a mutant HER2 receptor potency readily available? I don't know, but HYRNUO received accelerated approval from the FDA, so some of the fundamental activity information for the compound has likely yet to filter through the medicinal chemistry literature. Okay, moving on to physicochemical properties. These are generated by Swiss ADME. I could walk through these, but none stands out. All these properties look like they belong to an orally administered small molecule drug, which cevabertinib is. Here are the key PK properties. The half-life is 8 hours and is right in line with many once or twice per day dose drugs. The clearance is quite low. I don't think much in liters per hour. In different units, milliliters per minute per kilogram, assuming a 70 kilogram patient, apparent clearance is only about 0.7. So that is indeed quite low. While the oral bioavailability is not reported in the prescribing information, at least, based on the low clearance and presumed membrane permeability, based on physicochemical properties, I suspect the bioavailability is reasonably high. Let's move to metabolism and excretion. Cevabertinib undergoes phase 1 metabolism, mostly by CYP3A and to a lesser extent CYP1A1. Cevabertinib, or perhaps one of its metabolites, also undergoes glucuronidation to a small extent. Cevabertinib and its metabolites are primarily excreted via the feces, with just a small fraction being unchanged drug. Like all drugs, HYRNUO carries safety concerns which are disclosed in the prescribing information. The warnings include diarrhea, hepatotoxicity, and interstitial lung disease. Adverse reactions observed in at least 20% of patients include diarrhea, rash, paronychia, which are nail bed infections, stomatitis, which is an inflammation of the oral mucosal tissue, as well as nausea. At least 10% of patients experienced grade 3 or 4 lab abnormalities, which include higher AST and ALT levels as a sign of hepatotoxicity. That concludes the NDA approval of HYRNUO, which was announced by the U.S. FDA on November 19th of 2025. HYRNUO contains cevibertinib as its active pharmaceutical ingredient. HYRNUO is approved for the treatment of certain types of non-small cell lung cancer. Please like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Take care.